When I was really little, when older relatives or family friends pass away, my parents would tell me that he or she just went on a trip to heaven. And even I was just a kid, I don't know what heaven really is. I knew that trips cost money. So I kept asking my parents, "Hey Dad, how much is the trip gonna cost and who will pay for it?" But of course, my parents told me to shut up and stop asking so many questions. I want to share this because I think it shows that death and the cost of death is still a taboo topic in our society. Let me ask you, do you know what is the cost of dying in Canada?
I don't know.
Think about it this way. We have been saving our entire life to pay for a mortgage or to pay for our retirement. But how many of us have been saving for the thing that we all must encounter, our own death? I know we don't like to think about it. But in this video, I will show you why not thinking about the cost of death actually makes things worse. So keep watching to find out how you can save your family from lots of trouble and financial worry. Hey, welcome back. This is Thomas, here to help Canadians to make better choices on retirements, wealth, and insurance. My goal is to make sure you can take one or two ideas home and start making smarter financial decisions today. If you are new here, consider subscribing so you'll never miss any of my videos. Let's jump into it. The first thing we have to understand is that, like everything, death is getting more expensive. In fact, funeral costs went up dramatically in the last 30 years. For example, since 1968, the price for a casket rose by 230%, and in comparison, the Consumer Price Index in Canada rose by 95% in the same time frame. I know facing our own mortality is hard, but it's important to know how much it costs in a dollar figure and what can we do now to ease the costs. Our funeral costs are usually carried by our family. Now, the problem is our family will be emotionally wounded. After all, they deal with a loss of a loved one. So the last thing our family is thinking about is saving money when planning our funeral. They don't have the time or they don't want to look at brochures and compare the prices of casket and urns. They will take what is recommended to them without thinking about the price. Some industries around death and dying even exploit this by making the price of options look more attractive or by appealing to guilt. The funeral industry is a business and unfortunately, some people try to take advantage from it. What's more, nearly 2/3 of people in Canada don't have a will. This means the whole funeral will go according to your family and in many situations, it doesn't proceed as you wish to be. So without that, there's no clarity and the next of kin will not know how you imagine your funeral to be. If you want to make things easier on your family, prepare a will that states exactly what you want at your funeral and what you don't want. For example, many people don't think flowers are necessary. But if it's not written in the will, guests will feel obligated to bring flowers, which there will be additional costs and social pressure. Okay, let's lift the curtain and run some numbers. Let's look at the fees we have to expect for our own funeral, and here are the approximated costs. First of all, you need a death certificate to legally register the death of the passed away person. The certificate usually costs around $20. Some issuers also charge a registration fee, which is around $50. The next cost to expect is the funeral home fee, which is around $2,100. And the body of the deceased need to be transported from the place of death to the cemetery. The formal transfer service costs between $100 to $325. Now, if you're going for a traditional funeral, there are some additional costs that came into play. For example, the viewing, which is around $725, and preparation of the body, like makeup and hair, which can cost around $250. To have the body rest at the cemetery, you need a funeral plot at $2,500, a headstone, which is around $3,000, and a casket for approximately $2,400. Now, on the big day of the funeral, you need staff, which costs around $500. Print package for the guests, $160, flowers, $600, and wraps, $100. And of course, that's not all. If someone has to manage the estate of the deceased person, they will likely to hire an attorney for help. And this can easily cost more than $10,000. This makes the total cost of death and decent ceremony over $40,000. Not all of these costs are necessary, However, most people do not really have an idea and feel social pressure that it's weird to try to save money in this situation, so they pay it without really thinking about it. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, we aren't done yet. In Canada, there are 2 more fees you need to pay attention to. While Canada doesn't have a death tax, there are 2 additional fees that you might have to pay: probate fee and a final income tax bill. Now, the height of the probate fee depends on the province. In British Columbia, for example, the fee is 1.4% if the personal property has a gross value of $50,000, whereas in Alberta, the max probate fee is $400. The final income tax bills depends on the type of asset the person owned. For example, if you have $1 million in RSP and no spouse to roll over, the entire $1 million will be considered as your income for the final year. Or if you have more than 1 real estate, all those properties will be taxed at 50% of their growth, so you can imagine how much money will flow into the CRA if not planned properly. The good thing is, there are several ways to lower it down. For example, if the person donates a lot to the charity, this also has to be included in the calculation of the final income tax, so this varies from person to person, but definitely don't ignore it. By now, you might be thinking that this is so much money for an occasion that you won't be even able to attend. Now that you know all the costs involved in death, let's have a look at what can you do now to reduce the costs. Your first option is to create a will to avoid confusion and save expense. Creating a will costs between $200 to $2,000, but it will save your family thousands of dollars in legal fees later. A will allows you to control which of your assets go where after you pass away. Everyone with some form of assets should do estate planning, because without it, there's no clarity and everything will go by the rules of the government. Long story short, I personally don't agree with those will kits that you'll find online or from the local mom and pop shop. Really, to save you the hassle, talk to a lawyer or estate planner for advice. Another way to prepare is life insurance. You can use life insurance to save up a small fund that your family can use for your funeral. Life insurance also gives some security to your family and relatives in the case of unexpected death. Keep in mind that life insurance payout is 100% tax-free. So therefore, a lot of smart investors will convert a part of their assets into a life insurance to prevent the hands of a CRA. This is especially important if you are the main income earner of your family or if you own valuable assets. What's more, plan your funeral early. Lots of funeral homes actually offer packages and other services that you can benefit from. And have a chat with your family early. Be open about it. Tell them what you like and what you don't like. And finally, instead of going 6 feet under, you can choose cremation. Cremation is cheaper because it doesn't need a casket. While a burial costs between $5,000 and $10,000 in Canada, a cremation costs way less, from $2,000 to $5,000. What's more, there are more and more individualized options for your final resting place. There are possibilities to have your ashes turned into a diamond, to be buried by a tree or at sea. The possibilities are endless. The important point here is it should be your decision what kind of funeral you will have or what happens with your body after you pass away. But if we don't deal with it while we are alive, then we transfer all those decisions to family members or the government. And I hope this video shows you why it's important to not ignore the cost of death, even if it's an uncomfortable topic. Also, I attached some links in the description box below for your own research. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And leave any questions you have in the comments and I may make a video to answer. This is Thomas, and I will see you in the next video.